Everyone, this is Rachel and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. If you hang out until after the video is through, there are always detailed shots of my current layout. Let's get going! Hey everyone, so today I'm coming to you with a very heavy mixed media layout. I wanted to get my hands dirty, as they say. I also am going to apologize in advance if you hear any background noise. It is gorgeous here in Connecticut. It's the end of August, but for some reason we've got early fall weather, and I'm taking full advantage by having all of my windows open and you might hear a little car go by. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, so I have this. It was originally a 5x7 photo, and I've trimmed it down to be a 5x5. It's just a really cute photo of my nephew and a friend of his. They're still friends today. This is actually a long-term friend of mine's son. Like, I've known her since I was 11 and she was 12. And then she became friends with my roommate actually before I became friends with my roommate. And so these two have grown up together. The one with the long sleeve red shirt, he's just a year and a half younger than my nephew. So right now what I'm doing is I want to get an idea of where my photo is going to be. So I'm just taking a pen and marking where the photo is going to go. I know I'm looking to make a rainbow starbursty style, so I knew kind of where I wanted to go. I am using a product called Pasties. It is from Shimmer's Paints. This is actually the last of my pasties. I was so sad I have to buy some more. It is a clear, shimmery paste, so there's lots of glimmer to it, but it dries completely clear. So it's a very subtle way to use texture in your layout. I am going to make it completely unsubtle by adding a whole bunch of color. So what I try to do is I do it where it's going to have an organic end to it rather than go to the end of all of the things. And then I wait for it to dry a little bit so it doesn't smooch. So I am going to add, I'm going to cut to it. I did add a little bit more to that right hand side, but I was just waiting for it to dry a bit. So what I've done is I've taken this plastic packaging that one of my specialty pieces of paper came in. Um, the American Crafts, if they have specialty paper, they do come in a plastic sleeve. So I just tend to keep them. And I just cut a triangle out. And I'm starting off with You're the Zest. And that is actually the only one I remembered to hold up to the screen. All right, because I'm awesome like that. So I'm using this piece of plastic partially as a blocker of color and also partially as a packaging technique. So as I'm moving the opening of the plastic over, and I'm spraying a lot so it does mix up and everything. Not only am I just leaving a little bit to overlap color wise, when the plastic presses down on the part that I'm moving it to, it then moves the color even more with its weight. So I went from You're the Zest to Sunset Strip to Sweetheart to Rose Gold Red, and then I went to Hermit the Frog, and now this is Jenny B. Blue. And there's a little bit of mixing in there that is kind of blah, but that's the part that's actually going to go under the photo. So I planned where my colors are going specifically for that reason. All right, I then, after Jenny B. Blue, I went to Faded Jeans. No, not Faded Jeans. Blue Jeans, and I managed to hit my camera, so sorry. And then finishing off with Plum Pudding. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the You're the Zest and Plum Pudding so that they wind up next to each other. Now I'm going back, I've taken the plastic off, let it dry a little bit, and now I'm going back and spraying over it again, adding some depth of color to several of the places, adding a little bit more color, using my paper towel to sop up where it's meeting where it shouldn't, and just basically letting the color do its thing. Like, I'm looking for, I wanted it to be separate. I didn't want everything to run together. I do have over on the upper right hand side that little splodge of blue, and I'm seeing if maybe if I add more yellow I can somehow fade it out, but it isn't going to work. It's fine though, because I do end up trimming this down and backing it with a piece of pattern paper. So I'm gonna go totally trim that piece off. So no big deal in the long run. So everything is dried now. Obviously, it is not as um, yeah, I'm upset about the blue, but it's okay. I work it out. It's not as vibrant as when it's wet, but it's, plenty vibrant, believe me. So now what I'm doing is I'm going back over with the shimmers and I'm misting. So obviously when you do misting droplets, it ends up being far more concentrated color. Point in fact, this did not work out as well for me as I wanted it to. So I'm going to go back at the end and do something different to um, make the droplets be more, the word that's coming to my mind is active, and I know that is not the correct word. I'm looking for the word prominent, but it is not coming out. When it comes to the yellow, at first I start off with Year to Zest, and I realize it's just completely going right in. So I switched to Tuscan Sun, but it's still not as prominent as I'm looking for them to be. So I will go back at the end of the layout and add more in a different, I add some Heidi Swap color shines, which I've talked about in the past. For me, they're more opaque than the shimmers. The shimmers tend to go in a little more to the color than the color shines, which tend to sit on top. But you'll see that at the end of the video. All right, so I'm moving on now to working on matting for my photo. I have this iridescent tissue paper and I'm just doing a fan fold. And at first I think I'm going to fan fold the whole thing, but I'm like, I don't have enough tissue paper for that. I mean, I ripped it off more. So obviously I have more tissue paper, but I'm getting concerned with the thickness of it. So I just go ahead and fan fold it and then just use that as texture and trim off the piece. I don't like for my stuff to be too thick. And all I'm doing is I'm adding some ATG just so it doesn't flop around. Now, yes, for those of you who are really super into making sure everything is acid free and ligand free, this is not, and I totally get that, and I'm totally fine with that. Not every single layout needs to last for 1,000 years. I highly doubt my nephew is going to keep every single layout. I enjoy creating them. I have fun making art. So, and right now, that's really all I'm concerned about. If he keeps 5 layouts to hand down, I will be unknowing because I'll be dead. But I'm just saying it's not, that's not a concern for me. That's not one of my what I need to get out of scrapbooking. Everybody is different, and if that is important to you, then obviously those are the rules you should adhere to. But for me, I'm okay letting it be a couple of things that are not going to work out where it's going to be perfect for eternity. So I knew that I had this paper. It's from Felicity Jane and it's just black and white stars. And I've always loved it and I wanted to use it in this particular layout because I've got so much color going on. I'm going to stay pretty neutral with the rest of my paper. Well, this is the only paper I'm using besides the tissue paper. I go ahead and gut it using my trimmer, and I've explained how I do that in previous videos. Basically, you just shimmy it under there and then use scissors to get the rest of it. And what I'm doing is normally I would just cut like 1/2 inch off 2 sides, but because I want to keep that center portion of the color wheel, so to speak, where I wanted it in the lower left-hand corner, I went around and trimmed off on all 4 sides. So now I've got that and I am going to go ahead add some ATG to one side of my page, and this is a trick I picked up from my friend Kelly O'Black. I'm trying to decide which way it should go, and so you just put down one side, get that side glued down, and then go back and add the rest of your ATG, and that just helps you from if you glue it down crookedly, you then have a better chance of actually getting it back up without ripping your background paper. I forgot words there for a second, so I apologize for that. All right, I go ahead and trim down, and here's where I'm like, oh, you are dumb. You should not have put the fun foam down on the thing first, and then I think, well, you know what? I think I would actually like the paper down first and then the tissue paper. So I go ahead and trim this down, and I just need to get the mat small enough that it doesn't hang over the tissue paper, and I finally managed that, and I am happy with the way everything is looking, and I know I'm going to cover up that ugly spot on my paper with my photo. And now I am using my Art Glitter Clear Glue to put down glue anytime I have mixed media going on in the background, especially if I've used gesso. I did forget to mention I had pre-gessoed this layout. Sorry about that. That white cardstock, that is basil marshmallow, and then I did go and add gesso as well. Anytime I use gesso, I always use liquid glue. It always sticks a whole ton better. Now, for my title, the word Playtime is in white, and that's an Amy Tangerine one. I don't remember what it's called. And then for the rest of my title, I'm using a mix of the wonky font from Bella Boulevard, and I'm just mixing up the colors here. I've used red and yellow quite a bit, so I don't have as many colors as I do in the blue and the lilac. I'm going to go back and reinforce all of those letters with some liquid glue because, as I said, the gesso just makes it not want to stick a lot. In all of these Bella Boulevard, there are a whole bunch of plus signs, so I'm going to use those to decorate. Because I've got a ton of color going on, I am keeping my embellishments slightly minimal here. Excuse me, I'm trying to stop myself from having the hiccups because I don't want to start this voiceover over again. So I apologize if at times it seems like I'm trying to suppress a laugh. I am not. I'm trying to suppress a hiccup. All right, so let's see what I've got going on now. I know I need to do some journaling, not a ton of journaling. For those of you who have small children, I'm sure you recognize a mall playground log. I know when the children were this age, they were not super enthused to go shopping, and a lot of times we'd say, well, if we go shopping, we get to go to the little play area in the mall. And so this photo is taken there, and so that was, I live in Connecticut, it gets really cold, so it's not like you can play outdoors year round, and so sometimes to burn off some energy, you have to find an indoor place to play, and sometimes, you don't necessarily feel like paying, $25 to go to a indoor trampoline park, or to go to Chuck E. Cheese or whatnot, and the mall playground is free. And then all you have to do is go to Barnes & Noble and maybe get them a little book, and happy times are here again. All right, I am finishing off this layout with some wood veneer stars, and I think I am going to, this is where I'm going to add some more Heidi Swapp color shine. So I'm looking at the layout, and I don't necessarily think it needs any more stuff. I just think it needs some more depth of color. So I go in with very similar colors in the Heidi Swapp color shines as I chose in the shimmers. So I've got the citron, and I'm trying to cover up the white and black stars. It's not perfect. I forget to move it a couple of times. So I can't really, I just, it was like one of those things where I did my best. So I used the color teal over both the Jenny B Blue and the blue jeans. I used the color amethyst. I start off with butter, but I think I moved to mustard because I thought butter wasn't dark enough. Yeah, I moved to mustard. And then over Sunset Strip, the orange, I used the color peach. And then over red and over Sweetheart, I use the color Hot Pink. And I'm much happier having the two tones of colors in those, with using the Heidi Swapp. So I believe, am I finished now? Did I add something else? I don't remember. I made this layout a while ago, and it's just kind of been sitting in my, that's what I did. I wanted to add something else, but I didn't want to add more color. So I have these white matte enamel dots from Eyelet Outlet that I picked up at one of the expos, one of the scrapbooking expos. I don't remember when. And so I'm adding those to 3 of the areas, and that is going to complete my layout. If you guys could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. I always appreciate when people make comments. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section below. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching me. I really, really appreciate it. Bye!